Admiral Kron stared at the holographic display, his four eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of extreme distress among his species. The feed showed the destruction of yet another Imperial battlecruiser, this one disintegrating under a barrage of weapons technology the Empire had never encountered before. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. 17 capital ships in the last Earth Day, Admiral, replied his first officer Vex. The humans are advancing through the Orion Arm faster than our projections indicated. The Imperial Grand Council had believed the conquest of Earth would be simple. Humans were newcomers to interstellar travel, barely a century into their expansion beyond their home system. The Empire had conquered thousands of species across 3 galactic arms during its 50,000-year history. Humans were supposed to be just another footnote in that history. They had been catastrophically wrong. The report on High Commander Trell's desk was titled simply, Tactical Analysis. Human Warfare, Meteorology. It had been compiled by the Empire's finest military minds, those few who had survived encounters with the humans and managed to retreat with valuable intelligence. Trell scrolled through the document for the 5th time, hoping to find something, anything, that might offer a solution to the human problem. What he found instead was a litany of Imperial disadvantages. Asterisk humans evolved on a high-gravity, high-oxygen death world with extreme temperature variations and thousands of apex predators. Their baseline biological resilience exceeds all known sentient species, except the now-extinct Drax. Asterisk human military tactics show bewildering adaptability. While the Empire has refined a single perfect approach to warfare over millennia, humans employ thousands of contradictory strategies simultaneously, making their movements impossible to predict. Asterisk human weapons development proceeds at approximately 115 times the galactic average rate. Technology observed in one encounter is typically obsolete in the next. Asterisk. The most disturbing section came at the end. Asterisk contrary to Imperial doctrine, humans become more effective when cornered, not less. Devastating losses appear to strengthen their resolve, rather than weakening it. Their historical records indicate they have never initiated interspecies warfare, but have never lost a war they did not choose to end on their own terms. Asterisk. The recommendation was simple and unprecedented in Imperial history: immediate and total withdrawal from all territories within 500 light-years of human space. Captain Tom Miller of the Earth Defense Force vessel Resilience reviewed the battle footage with his crew. The Imperial ships had fought according to the same patterns they'd observed in previous engagements, textbook maneuvers executed with precision but without imagination. "They still don't get it," said Lieutenant Rivera, shaking her head. "They're fighting the war they've trained for, not the war they're in." Miller nodded. "The Imperials have been the dominant force in the galaxy for so long that they've forgotten how to adapt. Every species they've encountered until us has either been pre-spaceflight or already similar to the other races they've subjugated. Their first mistake was attacking that colony on Proxima Centauri B," said Commander Banks, the ship's tactical officer. "Their second mistake was assuming we'd surrender after they demonstrated their superior firepower." Miller smiled grimly. "And their third mistake was giving us time to reverse engineer their technology." The human fleet had started with just 47 combat-capable vessels. They now controlled over 300 ships, many of them captured Imperial vessels upgraded with human innovations. While the Empire's technology had stagnated over millennia of unchallenged dominance, humanity's wartime innovation had compressed centuries of development into months. On the Imperial capital world of Carius Prime, Emperor Drav XVI called an emergency session of the War Council. "The humans have breached the Helios defense line," announced Grand General Ulmar, his voice flat with defeat. 342 worlds are now within their operational range. "How is this possible?" demanded the Emperor. "They were primitives. They had barely established a handful of colonies when we first encountered them." An advisor stepped forward, Professor Malk, the Empire's leading xenanthropologist. "Your Majesty, we fundamentally misunderstood humans from the beginning. Their historical records, which we initially dismissed as exaggeration, are actually understated. They evolved through constant warfare among themselves, yet somehow maintained ethical constraints that prevented their self-extinction. "What are you saying?" asked the emperor. "I'm saying, Your Majesty, that humans have more experience with war than the entire empire. While we have spent millennia managing a peaceful hegemony, they have spent their entire existence fighting themselves, their environment, even their own biological limitations. We attacked the most battle-hardened species in known space while they were in the midst of their first era of species-wide peace." The silence that followed was deafening. The peace conference took place on neutral ground, a space station constructed specifically for the negotiations in the unclaimed void between Imperial and human space. Admiral Jones of the Earth Alliance sat across from Imperial Envoy Rel, who slid a data crystal across the table. "These are the terms our Emperor is willing to accept," said Rel. Jones reviewed the document and raised an eyebrow. "The Empire is ceding 37 star systems." "Yes, including the 6 where the regrettable hostilities began." Jones nodded. The Empire was not accustomed to making concessions, but they were learning. Humans had never wanted war. They had merely responded to aggression with overwhelming force, as was their way. "We will present these terms to the Alliance Council," Jones said. "I believe they will be acceptable." As Rel departed, his aide whispered, "Do you think they will honor the peace?" Rel glanced back at the humans. "For our sake, I hope so. Their ambassador told me something disturbing before the negotiations began. He said, 'What you've seen so far isn't humanity at war. It's humanity sending a message.'" The aide's skin paled. What did he mean? "He meant," Rel said quietly, "that we have glimpsed only the shadow of human military capability. They have been holding back. The Imperial Military Intelligence Service now believes that in a total war scenario, the Empire would cease to exist within a standard year." As their shuttle departed the station, Rel watched the stars with new eyes. For 50,000 years, the Empire had ruled the galaxy unchallenged. Now they had learned perhaps the most important lesson in their history. Not every species was meant to be conquered, and some, like humans, were best left alone.